Hey everyone, I am your astrologer, Wonder Girl, helping you to live in tune with the natural cycles of the moon. This is your astrology horoscope for the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, which occurs on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at 6 a.m. Eastern Time or 3 a.m. Pacific Time, depending upon, of course, where you live. Now, what I think this full moon lunar eclipse is really all about is about us feeling more in alignment with ourselves, our needs and values, and who we are becoming after releasing things that were out of alignment with that over the course of the past few weeks, but some pesky little unexpected details coming up here that we or the people we're connecting with are bringing up that could create, I think, some kind of disagreement, conflict, impasse, or be a little bit difficult to work out here that I think we're going to have to use our intuition in order to navigate. So that's what I'm going to talk about here in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned. Before I hop into that, though, I did just want to note one thing. It's kind of an important thing. What I want to note is that I am going to be making quite a few changes here to my channel and therefore my business over the course of probably the next 6 months here that's going on. Some of these changes are aesthetic changes. As you can see, I've changed finally. I've been trying to do it for a long time here, the background to my videos. Some of it too is going to be, Instagram and Facebook. I haven't really been active on there for a while, but I've been trying to change and rebrand some stuff here, but it's going to go beyond that as well. I'm going to change my name very soon. So my channel is no longer going to be Wonder Girl Astrology. I'm no longer going to call myself Wonder Girl. It's going to be something else here. And I'm also going to make changes as well to the formats of my videos and my horoscopes and how I do them as well. So please keep that in mind. Oh, and I'm also changing some of the thumbnail images. So please keep that in mind here. I'm still going to be around. I'm still going to be doing astrology. That's not going to change. Still going to do horoscopes, just a lot of, and in some different ways here, and to know that that is going on so that you're not surprised when you see things be different. And make adjustments online. Okay, and that's it. So let's go ahead and let's hop in to this video. In order to get started, what I like to do first is just place on the chart what it is that I'm going to be referring to in this video so that you can see it and follow along with me. So let me do that now. This video is for the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. As a result, I've adjusted this chart accordingly. I know that this chart is for the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus because I've got the moon here in Taurus, 16 degrees, making an exact opposition over here to the sun in Scorpio. And when the moon opposes the sun here, that is a full moon. I know that it's an eclipse because both the moon and the sun here are very close to the nodal axis. Okay, and the nodal axis is the point in which eclipses occur. I also need to note that this is a total eclipse because the moon and the sun are only 3 degrees away. They're very close. They're very close to the nodal axis as opposed to 10, 15, or 20. So this is a total full moon lunar eclipse here, of course, in the sign of Taurus. What is this all about? Well, full moons are all about stepping into things that we've been working towards for quite some time. I should note it's also as well about bringing things to light, bringing things to light, illuminating things, especially because that is when the moon is very bright in the sky. Okay, and lunar eclipses, right? An eclipse basically just strengthens that and makes that even bigger and more significant. So we're stepping into something in a very big and significant way that we've been working towards here, and getting a very big or significant, perhaps, insight about something as well. What is it that we are stepping into? Well, the moon here and this eclipse is in the sign of Taurus. What is Taurus all about? Well, Taurus is a lot about our own needs and values here, the things that are important to us as individuals, not important to other people, not what we think other people want us to want, but the things that are important for us as individuals here for our well-being. Not only is Taurus about that, but I need to note as well that it's also as well about stability and security, because when you assert your own needs and your own values, a lot of times that leads to more stable experiences and more secure ones there. Not only that, but Taurus is a lot about confidence in ourselves and in our abilities here. In addition to that, Taurus is also about our abilities and our own skills and talents to make things manifest for ourselves, not to have other people help us manifest things, but to manifest things here for ourselves in some kind of way. And of course, it's also about money too, and making money. Usually it's supposed to be about that, even though we'll get into the details later on about what's going on here. And so that's what I think is happening. I guess to bring that together here is that what's happening at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is that we're more fully stepping into here alignment with ourselves, our own needs and values here, and confidence in our own skills, talents, and abilities here, which I think is bringing a little bit more of stability and security here. And helping us figure some things out with money as well as we move forward. Okay. And we're getting illumination, right? Insights as well about ourselves, our needs and values, and perhaps how to bring some of that together. Okay, now before I move forward in time, here to explain more specifically how this is going to play out, because this is a big eclipse and there's a lot of stuff going on here, I'm just going to go backwards in time for a minute before I go forwards. I want to go backwards in time just to give you more of the context of how we got here and of why this is now a thing that's now coming up at this time to be felt, lived through, and experienced. And to go back in time, I want to go back here to a very significant alignment that happened 2 years ago now, because it was a very rare one, okay, and very unique. And that was when Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter came into a conjunction here all together in Capricorn, which was like the beginning of 2020. No, April. Well, we'll just call it April or something, right around there. April of 2020. Okay. What was that all about? Well, that was an unpleasant thing, I should note, because Saturn and Pluto in particular are not that pleasant. That's been going on. And it was about us realizing that something was not right in our lives here because of that, and that we needed to make big Jupiter change Pluto in the structures of our lives, Saturn and Capricorn, in order to let go of, right? In order to let go of this stuff that we did not like in our lives and ultimately set us up for better things. Okay, not only was it about that, but I need to note as well that Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct every 35 years. So not only in April of 2020 did we realize we didn't like our life, really, the way it was going, and that we needed to make like big sweeping change and the permanent change in the structure of it in order to move forward. But I think we also realized that these bad things we didn't like had gone on for many years and decades prior to this point, and some of us our whole lives, okay? That went on. And because we realized that then in April 2020, I think in between then and earlier this year, which we also had a solar eclipse, a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. I believe it was like May or April as well of this year, 2022. We then made those adjustments. We made those adjustments here to get out of this old stuff we didn't like and to start to get into better stuff to kind of hold us over a bit here in some kind of way. And that started to occur at May of 2022. And because finally in April of this year, we were finally out of this old stuff and in a better place, we then tried to move forward, maximizing this better place in life that it is that we were in here, to bring even more new good things that were in alignment with us as we move forwards. But even though we wanted to do that around May, April of this year, we really struggled to make that a reality. And that was because of the next lunar eclipse, which occurred 2 weeks after that one. I think it was also in May here, a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which was a little bit of a challenge. And that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio is about us feeling stuck and unable to really move forward, bringing better things into our lives here. And I think, which was uncomfortable. And I think what we realized from feeling stuck at that lunar eclipse here is that the reason why we were unable to move forward into even better experiences of life is because we were still doing the new experience of life in an old way with old behaviors that were not conducive here to forward movement, especially not building something new and better. And the old behaviors that we had that were not useful and not conducive to forward movement were behaviors in which we were relying too much on other people and depending too much on them, spending money or losing money here, indulging perhaps in toxic relationships and negative emotions, just negative emotions here about our situations and changing too many things. Okay. And that we needed to stop that and adopt different behaviors that were more Taurus behaviors, right? Stable, secure, slower, self-reliant, saving money, et cetera, here. That's what we realized. And even though we realized that in May of 2022, it took us a while, to be honest, to get it through our heads and to really figure out what was going on here and to make adjustments towards that. But even though it took us a while, we finally got it around August. August of this year, 2022, the new moon in Leo, when Mars made a conjunction here to Uranus and Taurus, I think we then finally started to get it here that we needed to adjust our different experience of life that we're in to these different behaviors: slow, stable, secure, self-reliant, saving money, calming our emotions, here having them be more balanced in order for us to move forward and getting a lot of things in our lives here on that more stable trajectory here. And that was a good thing in August of this year. But even though it was a good thing, it was kind of rocky. It was like a long process to really do. That's been going on. But even though it was kind of rocky here, I think what happened 2 weeks ago now, the end of October, at that next solar eclipse in Scorpio, I think what happened then is that we finally realized that we're so close to creating a stable and secure existence that is more in alignment with us, except there were a few things in the way with relationships and money that were not working for us here that we needed to release and let go before we could move forward fully aligned with this better experience of life and fully able to move forward. And I think we let go of those last few things blocking us from forward movement over the course of the past 2 weeks. And because we did that, now this week, of which this video is for, this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus here, we're finally feeling more aligned. We're finally feeling more in alignment with ourselves, our needs, and our values, and we're finally feeling more stable, more secure here, more self-reliant, and like we're able, I think, to kind of take more steps forward now in this new experience of life we've been trying to create since 2020 in a more reliable way that can yield better results that are going to get things that are important to us in a healthier way. Okay, and that's it. Because that was a lot here, I'm now just going to repeat that one more time without the astrological jargon before I move onward. So let me do that now. What I think has been going on here over the course of the past few years, really the big picture is that, and of this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, is that we finally are feeling at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, like we have secured, I want to say secured, a new experience of life, a new and better experience of life here, away from the hardships of the decades prior to this, and that we're more stable and more secure in it here, and that it's more in alignment with who we are, giving us, after making a lot of adjustments to get here, and that it's finally giving us a good foundation now from which to move forward, bringing even better and healthier things into our lives that are in alignment with us and who we're becoming. Okay, so that's what I think that it is. And it's, again, it's something we've been working towards for a long time, being an eclipse. Okay, and especially with the other stuff happening here. Okay, now what I want to talk about after that is going to be more of the specifics here about this full moon lunar eclipse and how it's going to play out here as it moves forward, because the aspects are very significant here and can change quite a few things. So we're going to do that and to talk about the aspects here. I'm going to dive right in and just talk about whatever comes to, whatever I want to talk about first here that comes to me that's going on. And I think the first alignment I want to mention is going to be the fact that this full moon lunar eclipse is conjunct Uranus exactly. Here, look at it, 16 degrees in this chart. So we want to talk about that. What is this? This is not a pleasant thing. Maybe I'll start there, especially not at first. Okay, it's not a pleasant thing because Uranus here is in Taurus, a sign that it does not like to be in, which is a bit of a challenge here. So this to me is definitely difficult at first. What difficult thing is this? Well, Uranus is about the sudden and the unexpected. Okay, so this is some difficult, sudden, and unexpected thing that can come up. I should also note that one of the reasons why Uranus dislikes being in Taurus here is because Uranus really thrives off of change, and Taurus doesn't like change. So this can create instability. So this is a difficult, sudden, and unexpected event that can occur right after we thought we were aligning our lives and had a better foundation to move forward, that can create some of the instability and kind of knock us out of the stability we thought we had just had. Okay, So do you see this? Maybe to bring that together so far before I add some other things. What is going on so far at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is that we're feeling more solid now in a new, different, and better experience of life here. And like our lives are becoming more aligned with who we are, our needs and values, and more secure, giving us a better foundation from which to move forward after this point, making this new experience of life even bigger and even better, which is great, But even though we're feeling good, secure, more in alignment with our values, more ready to move forward, something sudden and unexpected here that could be startling and unpleasant could come up right when we feel like we've gotten in that good space here that could shake our newfound stability and shake perhaps our newfound confidence as well that is going on. Okay, what exactly is this unexpected thing? Well, that to me has to do with the next alignment that I want to mention here, because the moon, which is a part of the full moon, and Uranus here is making an opposition to Mercury in Scorpio, which is conjunct the sun here. Okay, and Mercury to me is the key. What is Mercury about? Well, Mercury is a lot about communication, right? Being correlated, one of the signs Mercury is naturally correlated to being Gemini, okay, or news that either we say to someone else or they say to us, okay, or as a result perhaps of some insight that they're receiving. Okay, not only that, but Mercury also has to do with the details about certain things as well, not only being correlated to Gemini naturally, but also being correlated to Virgo as well. Okay, the two Mercury ruled signs, and it's in Scorpio about more things that need to be adjusted, I think, from the past with Mercury here on the South Node, and that need to be released here, that haven't fully been released or haven't fully been tied up in the way that they need to be tied up, yes, with the relationships and money that are involved, because Scorpio is about relationships and money, okay? So what does this mean to me? Well, to continue to bring it together so far, what this means to me is that very recently we're starting to feel more stable and more secure in life, more set here, more in alignment with our needs and values, and more able after this point to create even better and healthier experiences after this point with a stronger foundation that's really going to work for us after this point, which is great. But even though we're feeling really good and more secure and in more alignment and more able to move forward, all of a sudden something sudden and unexpected comes up that I think is unpleasant and startling, and that challenges that newfound stability and security and alignment that we thought we had just found. And the unexpected thing that comes up, I believe, is unexpected news or conversation here that either we start or someone starts with us about the details of something from the past that we thought was tied up with relationships and money, but was not tied up fully or was not tied up properly here in the way that it needed to be, really, in order for us to move onwards here. That is very, very unpleasant. Okay. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, which is going to be where Venus is, okay? Because not only do I want to say, here that Uranus and Mercury are in very close aspect here to the moon and sun, right? Uranus is conjunct the moon, Mercury is conjunct the sun, but Venus is also super close to all of this stuff as well, making a conjunction to the sun and the opposition of the moon. So we also want to talk about that. What is that all about? Well, Venus is about relationships and money, and so is Scorpio about relationships and money. They're similar in some kind of ways, but even though they're both about these things, Venus doesn't really like to be in Scorpio here. It's one of the signs that it doesn't enjoy. All the planets have signs they do like, signs they don't like. This just happens to be one of Venus's least favorite signs here, because Venus does like ease. It does like ease. It does like beauty here in a lot of ways. It also does like stability, and that's really hard to find for Venus in particular when it's in Scorpio here. So what can this create? Well, Scorpio does have a lot to do, again, with changes, with relationships and things that are going on here, and deep, intense emotions. Scorpio is a water sign, very fixed, very deep emotions, especially that can be carried over from childhood, from trauma, from things like that within ourselves and with the people that we're dealing with, that can create conflicts, right? Especially if there's an unexpected detail that's triggering our other wounds, there can be some kind of conflict that can come here as a result with someone we're involved in, an argument, a disagreement. That could go on here, or some kind of impasse where we don't know how to work these unexpected details in a way that we might like, and a lot of triggering wounds because of this stuff that's going on, okay? So what that means to me, right, to continue to bring it together so far, is that at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, the beginning of it at least, we're feeling like we're in a much better place in life, especially than we were in 2020 and before that, and in a different and better place of life that's more stable, more secure, and more in tune with our needs and values that we can really use after this point to move forward in a really solid way that's healthier here to move us onwards, which is nice. But even though we're feeling that way and it's nice, there's something sudden and unexpected which comes up at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus that's unpleasant, that startles us and challenges that newfound sense of stability and alignment that it is that we've come up, that we've started to get. And I think the sudden and unexpected thing that comes up here is news or a conversation that either we all of a sudden feel we need to have with someone, or someone else all of a sudden feels they need to have with us about a little detail here from something from the past that was not fully addressed or not fully tied up properly in the way that it really needed to be in order for us to wash our hands of these old negative things we don't want and move forward, which can trigger a lot of our own wounds, you know, from childhood, from the past, from trauma here that's going on, and create arguments, conflicts, disagreements with the other people and things that we're dealing with about how to resolve this stuff here that's going on that could be uncomfortable. Okay, clearly. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here. And the next alignment that I want to mention is the fact that Venus, but really this eclipse configuration here is making a square to Saturn over here in Aquarius. So that's what we want to talk about next, a bunch of planets squaring Saturn. Okay, now this is also very difficult here, and it's a very difficult alignment because it's a square. And because Saturn here is involved, both of which are a bit hard, okay? What is the difficulty here with this? Well, Saturn does tend to bring blockages or restrictions in some kind of way, and it's in Aquarius, and Aquarius to me is very solutions oriented, it's very innovative, so I don't think those are coming immediately. Not only that, but Aquarius also has to do with our future and our next steps, which I don't think we're seeing and able to access. It also has to do with our freedom, which I think we're feeling trapped about. And it also has to do with detached emotions, which I also don't think we're getting to as well there, which I think is a little bit hard here, making it difficult, for us to make decisions, right? Saturn's about decisions, making it really difficult for us to make decisions here with what is going on. Okay. So what does that mean to me? Well, to continue to bring it together so far, what that means to me is that around the time of this full moon here, lunar eclipse in Taurus, we are starting to feel better about our lives, more stable, more secure, more confident, more in alignment with our needs and values here. And more able after this point to build our life even bigger and healthier and even better ways that it is that we need here, which is good. But even though that's good, there's something sudden and unexpected that could come up that could really shake this sense of confidence and alignment that we've recently found and be quite startling. And I think this unexpected thing that could come up to me looks like some kind of conversation that either we might suddenly start or someone else might suddenly start with us about little details here about something from the past with relationships, with money. It could be anything, job, health, habits that was not fully resolved in the way that it really needed to be here, which can be very triggering here and be very upsetting, triggering a lot of trauma, childhood wounds, things like that. Here create a lot of disagreements as well, or conflicts or arguments with other people here, and that you may not be certain about how to solve immediately, that you may not be certain about what to do with or how to solve immediately here, and that you may not know what to do next with about maybe blocking your vision of the future, that may be making you feel trapped here, and that may be really hard to calm your emotions down with. at this time that can bring this really heavy, Saturn's heavy, this really heavy stuck energy of like, especially too with Saturn kind of being in a skip step configuration, the square to the nodes, like a 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward, you know, like I felt like I was getting somewhere, and then now like here we are back again at all this stuff that's going on. Okay. So what now is the advice, right? Those are the majority of the aspects that I really want to focus on here. What is the advice? Well, you know, this is a little bit of a T-square, right? What you would consider this when you have the oppositions here, 2 planets, quite a few planets making an opposition to each other, and then both squaring here, a planet in the center. And when I see kind of an alignment like that, I usually think of it as like an arrow here pointing to the planet that's in the center here of the opposition, being the thing that needs to be resolved, really, in order to get everything else moving again in the way that it is that it needs to be here. So that's going to be Saturn in Aquarius. What is Saturn in Aquarius about? Being kind of like the key to resolution here. Well, it's about quite a few things here. Aquarius is a lot about breaking free from stuff here and doing and also doing things differently, kind of in a non-traditional way. Not only that, it's also too about kind of like calming your emotions as well. And it's also too about making decisions, because Saturn is here, and Saturn's about making decisions as well, especially some that are going to be good for us long term. Saturn really appreciates that. So what that means to me is that part of the advice, even though I'm going to give you a little bit more, but that part of the advice here to handle all of that is to really focus on calming your emotions, right? And detaching, that's an Aquarius thing, detaching from the negative emotions of your situation, maybe even detaching from the negative feedback of other people, you know? Okay, in order to handle this, you need to detach from the negative emotions, the negative feedback of other people here, and I think kind of calm those down so that you can be more objective here about your situation. Not only that, but I think you also too need to think out of the box here, unique solutions, unique ideas here, to do things in a non-traditional way. That's going on. Not only that, but I really think that there's also a need for you to focus on doing things differently that are more authentic to you and not reverting backwards. Okay, we're not reverting backwards. Aquarius is about moving on, moving forward here, and doing whatever you can, unique to move into another situation, even if it's weird here as you move forward, and also to make decisions. Saturn's about decisions, to make a decision, a firm decision here in order to do that, so that these things don't linger here, because this stuff can go on for months and years, you know, at an eclipse. You got to make decisions to nip it in the bud here so that this stuff does not linger here at this time. Okay, not only do I want to give that as a piece of advice, but I want to give one other piece of advice here too. And another piece of advice that I want to give you is to also listen to your intuition here surrounding what decision you need to make here, or what unique way of doing things, or to connect more with spirit and the divine to help you through the process. And I also want to say that too here, because even though there is, I think, things that need to be done for us to calm down and to get unique solutions about our situations here, I still don't think we're going to have all of the answers with Saturn in Aquarius. You know, even though we need to calm down, be unique, I still don't think at the end of that, we're going to feel good about what we've really come up with here, especially because, again, Saturn's not finished going through Aquarius. So I think there's a need to engage your intuition, especially as well with Saturn squaring all of these Scorpio planets. Okay, and Scorpio is a water sign, can be very intuitive when it wants to be here and very connected to the divine. And we've also got Saturn square the moon, right, which is a part of this alignment. And the moon too can also be be one that's more spiritual as well, and more delicate, if you will. So that's another reason why, especially too with Jupiter at the last degree of Pisces, very connected to the spiritual realms, you know, and we've got a Venus making a conjunction, or sorry, a trine to Neptune as well. So that's for multiple reasons, right? There's multiple reasons why I'm giving you that advice. I think there's also a need too, to once you've thought about everything enough and calmed down your emotions enough and thought about unique solutions enough, to just go with your intuition and go with what you think spirit and the divine is nudging you towards the most, and make a firm decision here around that in order to move forwards. Okay. And that is what I want to say. And that's actually the last alignment I'm going to mention here in this video that's going on, because that's all I'm going to say now in this video. I'm just going to repeat all of those things one more time without the astrological jargon, so that you can get a little bit of a better idea here of what's going on before I say a few other short things, I think. So let me do that now. What I think is going on at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is that we are feeling, I think, more stable, more secure, and more in alignment with ourselves and our needs and values than we have felt in a very, very long time. I want to say years and decades, after working really hard to get here since 2020, which is a good thing. We're also feeling as well like we have a better foundation now in order to move forward after this point, creating even healthier things and bringing even healthier things into our lives after this point, which is great. But even though we're starting to finally feel that way, I do believe that there is some kind of sudden and unexpected thing that can come up that can be very startling, very unpleasant, and challenge this newfound sense of stability, security, optimism, and alignment that it is that we've recently started to get. And I think the sudden and unexpected thing that could come up here is some kind of a conversation or news that either we could initiate or someone else could initiate with us about some details surrounding something from the past that we've been trying to release with relationships, money, job, health, habits, whatever it is, you know, home, family, that's not right here, that still needs to be worked through in order for us to move forward. And I think that this detail here that comes up, I think is going to be very triggering to us, trigger a lot of wounds and issues perhaps from the past, and also create some conflicts and disagreements here with the people that are involved in these situations that we may not know how to resolve right away, and that we may feel really blocked with and stuck here and unable to move forward and emotional about. That just is a heavy energy. This is a very heavy, rigid energy of us feeling, you know, 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards here. And because there's this challenge that's going on, what I think needs to happen here in order to resolve it is that we need to take some time, I think, to ourselves to calm down our negative emotions around this situation, and to detach from the negativity of our own feelings, of other people's responses here. Not only do we need to take some time kind of away from this situation to calm down, but I think we also need to take some time here to come up with unique ideas and unique solutions that are weird and innovative and unusual and non-traditional here about how to solve this stuff, because I don't think the traditional stuff is going to work. If I can be honest about some of this stuff that's going on. And not only that, do you need to take time to yourself to calm down and think in unusual ways about how to fix this, but I also think too, you need to think of ways you can move forward here and do something different, so that you do not revert backwards and do not get stuck in these old things. Okay. And once that occurs, then you need to make a firm decision here about what you want and what to do with the situation, which I should know may require negotiation. I didn't say that, but it may require negotiation here in some kind of way that's going on, and to carry out and to finish making that decision by trusting your intuition here, and to carry it out in a way that's just more intuitive here as you move onwards. Okay. Now, that's all I'm going to say in terms of the alignments, but there is, I think, just one last point that I want to add here about the very end about this decision that I think a lot of us have to make here in order to tie up this detail from the past. Is this decision going to be a happy one for everybody? No. I think it's going to be actually a wide range and a mixed bag here of how this final decision will play out and what the final decision will be. Okay, the reason why I think that is because Uranus plays so heavily here in this experience, with of course Uranus being conjunct the moon here of this full moon, and Saturn being in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is about the unpredictable here. So even I don't know exactly how these things will turn out for all of you that is going on. Not only can I not say that all these decisions are going to be happy ones because they're very unpredictable what's going on, but also too because the North Node is involved, right? That's what a lunar eclipse is, and the North Node has a lot to do with destiny, fate, and I think too the results, especially with Saturn. Yeah, has a lot to do with, I'll get to that in a minute, destiny and fate and whatever like the universe, the divine has planned, or whatever we planned for ourselves before we got here, that's going on. And two, Saturn is involved in this alignment, which has to do with karma, and karma is just the result of your past actions. You know, did you make the right choices in the past or did you not? So well, you know, prior to this choice, before this choice, we're talking many months and years ago. So even though I am saying here that this is the way to resolve this issue that's coming up this time period, you know, is that you have to calm down and come up with a unique solution that's different than anything you've ever tried so that you don't stay stuck and can move forward. And you need to make a decision to act it out by trusting your intuition and trusting the divine and all of that. Does that mean that some of you are going to have easy decisions to make, or are going to make decisions that are going to make you happy? No, it does not, because there's so many unexpected elements of course here that I can't see that's going on. And because fate is a lot in play in this situation, and so too is karma, the result of your past choices, you know, that is really up to you and the divine and whatever you've got going on here. So I do need to note that. And because there is such a wide range that these decisions may ultimately play out, I want to give you a few different options here. What that means is that some of you can make decisions by the end of this that are actually really good for you, and something that you've really been wanting to do for a long time anyways. Here that can bring a sense of relief, right? Like, I made this decision and finally this thing is done and I can move forward, okay? And I'm going to move into a better experience as a result of it. And some of you could even feel like this decision you're making is giving you something even better than you could have imagined, right? So that's one thing the first of a few options I'm going to give you here. The way that this decision can go at the end of this thing here that I think we need to make about our situations is unpredictable. I don't know. It's going to go different for a lot of you. But one of the possible ways that this can go is that this unexpected event in the decision you make could actually work out way better than you could have planned, and way better than you could have ever intended. Here, maybe you didn't see it coming, but can work out great and you'll be feeling amazing. Okay. Another way that this unexpected thing can go, and the decisions that you have to make, could be that you simply break even. You don't come out disappointed. You don't come out overjoyed. You're just like, there it is again. Another, you know, every time I do something good, an unexpected detail, I just got to take care of it. We're going to take care of it. I'm going to break even. It's fine. We're going to move on here. Okay. And there's another way that, and this is the last way I'm going to say that I can see this playing out. And the last way I can see this playing out is that some of you are just going to, especially if you're on the more negative side of this, are just going to have to cut your losses. Some of you are going to be disappointed here because you're going to have to make decisions to stop the bleeding. Essentially, you're going to have to make decisions here to end this stuff that's been going on here, so that you're not losing any more money, so that you're not losing any more sleep here, and so that you can move forward. And when you make a decision to cut your losses, what that means is that some of you might have to lose money in order to end partnerships, get this thing off here so that you can move forward. That could also go on. So the decision could be to kind of lose some money in order to be free of the situation, and move on. All right. So maybe that's the last point that I want to say here in this video, right? I think it's, there's always more actually, but for now, right? What I want to say is that you need to make some kind of decision at the end of this energy here based on your intuition that's unique and different and is firm to move forward and not stay stuck from a more calm place, okay? And that decision that some of you make is weirdly going to be amazing. It's going to work out better than you ever could have dreamed or expected, to really help you feel more in alignment in a way that you couldn't even see coming, that like the divine surprises you with. There's others of you that are just going to break even. You know, this unexpected thing comes up. You're not going to be great. You're not going to be bad. You're just going to figure it out and let it go and move on. And then there's some of you that are going to have to make a decision you don't want to make, to cut your losses here and to either pay something or someone off so that you don't want to move forward here, or to kind of, do something you don't want to do so that you can more firmly end this stuff here and move on. It's not up to me. It's up to, of course, the divine and your experiences and things like that, and what's going on there. Okay, the other thing that I want to note, though, is that here's, of course, another thing, is that even though there are a few different ways this decision to make can go, it can unexpectedly work out better. Okay, you can break even, or maybe worse, you got to cut your losses here. But the other thing that I want to note too is that these decisions, whether they're good or bad, whether they're good, bad, middling, it doesn't matter. They all need to be more of a final decision in some kind of way, where you're not letting these things linger. A final decision, yes, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. So this isn't a decision to drag along, like, oh, we'll reevaluate, oh, well, I'll take a loss now and then we'll reevaluate, too much, for whatever. No, this is like I want to end it, right? Like let bye, like what can I do to get this away, to get it and just wipe my hands of it, and to move on. I think that that's what the decision needs to be made here, especially because these are all the fixed signs, right? Scorpio, Taurus, where the eclipses are in Aquarius, and the fixed signs don't do this waffling stuff. Oh, like maybe we'll figure it out later, and like we'll just hold it over until then. Like, no, the energy is like we're done with this, we're done. And whether I have to take a loss, right? Whether I have to take a win, take a loss, I don't care. I don't want to be dealing with this, like I have been as we move forward. So that's another thing that it is that I want to note here. The other thing that I want to say too is that should be seen as a good thing, because once you have finality, or once you have certainty of like whether it's good or bad, of like, yes, I'm getting a great deal, or of like, no, I'm not, then it allows you to move on. When you're in this limbo space of like, maybe this thing is going to work out, maybe it's not, and I don't know, and I kind of want it to work out but they don't, then it triggers more trauma, creates more trauma and things that are going on here. So the other thing that I want to say is, this can go in a variety of different ways, good, bad, middling here. Not up to me, it's up to the divine in your situation here. You need to make a decision, whether it's good, bad, or middling, to end it so that you're not dealing with that stuff. And once the decision is made to end this thing here, it's going to make you feel better, no matter what side of this you're on, whether you had to cut your losses or whether you got a great deal and a great win. It's going to make you feel better because now you're going to have certainty. No, this job isn't for me. No, this relationship is not for me. No, this financial situation, not for me. No, this home I'm in, not for me, and that is a good thing. That's a good thing because it frees you up to do something that is good for you after this point, and to do something that is better for you after this point, so that you're not trying to convince and make something work that's not really working here in the ways that it is that you might like. Okay, so please do keep that in mind here as well. Okay. Maybe to give you a few examples, right? What could this look like? Well, I think a lot of you are leaving jobs and, leaving a lot of, everyone's leaving stuff. I think that's what's going on. Everyone's leaving stuff, dealing with old things. Okay, so what could be happening is that maybe some of you are leaving jobs, to either not have another job or to go work for another company. And it could be a little detail with how you're leaving, Oh, you're leaving this job, but there's a little detail here about your pay, that your last paycheck, right? We're going to take this out of your paycheck because, you didn't work these days and things like this. It could be a little detail about that comes up here, that's going on, or a little detail about who you trade off your work to now that you're leaving, and about who's going to give you a recommendation for next. That could create a little bit of an altercation, like, I need that paycheck. Don't send it here. Send it, I don't want to hand it off to this person, so there could be things like that. Okay. How else could this be? Maybe this is a home situation. Maybe some of you are trying to sell homes and move or something like that. that's going on. Maybe you could have mostly already done that, but it could just be a little detail around like the selling of the home. Maybe there's a little clause in the contract with the home that you just sold that you didn't see coming, that no one told you that they put in. Or maybe you've moved into the home that you just bought, but there's an issue, there's a leak that wasn't disclosed when you bought the thing. It's little stuff like this that could be coming up here, that could be going on. Okay. Or maybe it's a health issue. Maybe some of you have been healing, long-term health issues. I'm not quite sure what that would look like. Maybe there's some kind of treatments and stuff that you've been on or some time, and maybe your health issue's going, but maybe what could happen is there's some kind of unexpected health issue that could come up, the last little bits of your health that's been healing, to be resolved here at this time, so that you can more fully deal with it, and move on, or a reaction to some kind of treatment you stop taking. Do you see it can be a bunch of little stuff like this? Or maybe it's a romantic relationship or a relationship with a spouse. Maybe some of you are ending a romantic relationship or relationship with a spouse, divorcing, breaking up, and that could be ending. Right? And what can happen all of a sudden at this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is that your person you're divorcing could all of a sudden start making these crazy demands. Oh, and by the way, we're going to divorce, but I want the kids. I don't want to pay child support, all this other stuff that's going on. Or the person you're breaking up with could say, fine, let's break up. But, I'm taking all your stuff you left over my place, and I'm calling all your friends and hanging out with them and telling them that you're an asshole. It could just be like a bunch of random stuff like that. And it's like, okay, like, is that necessary? That could be really upsetting here at this time. Okay. Just little things like that are pain that we're going to have to, right? We're going to have to deal with here by calming our emotions, assessing all of these things calmly, and trying something unique and different that we've never tried before, instead of staying stuck here and making a firm decision to do it based on our intuition. Okay, because we're not going to know for sure if this stuff is going to work out until we try it. Okay, to resolve it. Okay. Yes, and there's maybe one other thing that I want to note. The one other thing that I want to note too is that I also believe that a lot of the things that we're ending right now, okay, because this is a time of endings, right? The details are not about new things. The unexpected details that are coming up, I think I made this clear, are not about something new we're going to do and how it's going to work out. It's about something old that needs to be ended, or wasn't ended properly over the course of the past 2 weeks in particular here. I also want to note that this stuff that we're ending now looks like it could be things that have persisted for a very long time, say like 25, 35 years prior to this, with the Saturn and Pluto stuff in 2020, that maybe you've been hesitating to end until you felt really sure and really certain. So that's one thing I want to say here. Some of the stuff that some of you are ending is something you've been meaning to end, a relationship, a job, for a long time. You've been dragging your feet because you wanted to make sure that you're good and you're set and that you've secured a good exit. And now you're doing it. And of course, it's creating a whole bunch of issues, but you're still going to do it. You're still going to do it. Okay. Another thing that I want to note too is that this thing from the past that you're releasing, if it's not something that's been around for a while that you've been dragging your feet on and needed to release earlier, perhaps, then this thing that you're ending, could also be related to something new that you brought into your life at the end of 2020. We're talking October, November of 2020 here, and possibly at any time throughout 2021 as well, when we had the eclipses in Sagittarius and Gemini. Okay, it could also be related to that as well, and something that was started the end of 2020 and all of 2021, you could now be ending in some way, or adjusting significantly to be very different here, like almost opposite, I suppose, of what it was at that time. Okay, and the reason why I think a lot of these things are connected to that time period here is because, again, the eclipses were in Sag and Gemini, and we do have Mars going over really almost that whole spot where the eclipses were there. And we're going to have, right, a full moon in Gemini, and then the Sagittarius season around, all of that coming very soon. So I think it could also be related to some things there that we're letting go of. Okay, why may we be letting go of some of those things that we bought in at the end of 2020 and throughout 2021 here? Well, I think that, to be honest, a lot of those things that we bought in at the end of 2020 and all of 2021 were just temporary things. They were always meant to be kind of like temporary things, just to help us secure a passageway out of old stuff that we didn't want and into different things. They were kind of just like transitionary things that we kind of latched onto in order to move forward, right? Because it's hard to end something, which is what 2020 was all about, without having somewhere else to go, right? It's hard to end one job without having another job. It's hard to end, not that it's impossible, right? We can end something without having something else to go to, but it's just not typical always, and a little bit more difficult to do. So I think at the end of 2020 and 2021, we latched on to things that weren't really in alignment with us entirely, just to stabilize a different experience of life and give us a safe space to learn and grow, a safe space to learn and grow more about ourselves here. And now that we have stabilized our lives and have learned more about ourselves after the craziness that went on in 2020, 2019, all the years before that, now that we have stabilized our life and now that we know who we are, now the temporary things that just came in to help us learn about ourselves and stabilize can now go, so that something more true can emerge after this point here that has a more firm foundation as well. So I think that's another thought that I want to give you too. The details that you're tying up could be things from many years and decades, okay, that you've been waiting, that should have been released in 2020, that you've been waiting until you've been absolutely sure and safe. And then for others of you, the things you're releasing are things in particular that either you started at the end of 2020 or all of 2021 that were temporary spaces for you to simply heal, get your bearings, and learn more about yourself until you got strong enough and more certain about who you are, which has now occurred. Okay, that now you need to release so that something else better can be, or which you need to tie up the details about, in which people, if this was a situation where you kind of latched onto a person, right, to get, which people are rightly upset about, if you got into a situation because, you just needed a kind of a safe place and it wasn't really a long-term thing, right? And you didn't really figure things, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense that maybe some people would be upset about that. And you may be wanting to end that in what happened going on. Not that you should let them win, or let the situation linger, but I just want to say that I do think that those are a lot of the dynamics here that are at play. Okay, but you can't not do what's important for you, especially with the full moon in Taurus. Taurus is not about other people. It's about my needs, you can't not do what you think is best for you because you're going to hurt somebody else's feelings, so you got to not, people are going to be upset. Maybe you didn't do them right. Maybe you didn't do what you needed to do right. Then either people are going to be upset, but you got to do what's best for you and let these things go that just aren't working here as you move onwards. Okay. And I think that's it. What I like to do next is look at your inside degree here for this full moon lunar eclipse, to give you someone else's opinion other than mine about what this is about. Okay, I've got them up here on the screen. They were not written by me. They were written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, who channeled the meanings for each of the degrees from Spirit. I just like to read them because I think that they're really accurate and relevant, and I just appreciate his work. Okay, the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus is at 16 degrees here. And I typically like to look at the degree of 16, the degree before, and the degree after. So that's why I have 15 up here on the screen. In this case, I should note 15 actually is not my favorite. It's a real sweet degree, real sweet. I just don't know if it's what I feel is going on at this time. So I'm going to leave it here if some of you want to pause the video to read 15 Taurus, but I really want to focus on 16 and 17. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's look at that. We've got 16 degrees Taurus, weaving polarities adroitly with alchemical awareness of what can come from the right combinations. You are fascinated and awestruck by all the various combinations, facets, and ways the life force distributes itself and plays itself out. So what does that mean to me? I think it means a few things. One of the things that means to me is that that is in some ways where we're getting. you know, at this full moon, at the very beginning of it, when things were good, before the unexpected event, is that we're starting to feel like just more awestruck of like all the possibilities now that are unfolding about our lives now that we're feeling more in alignment. Not only does this mean that to me, that before the unexpected detail comes up, we're feeling like amazed at like all the possibilities now that we're leaving this stuff behind, but it also means to me that once the unexpected thing comes up, right? So I'm seeing it in two ways. Once the unexpected thing comes up, here, there is a lot of different possibilities here and a lot of different combinations about how these things can be resolved here that may be, that I think are available to us, okay? The rapt admirer of the wisdom and beauty of nature, transfixed by what happens around here, coming at things always from yet another side, yet never feeling it enough. There's more to be done, infinitely more to partake in and enhance. The world is an open book. So this to me, I think, does indicate, right? More details, more things to tie up. Not only does it indicate more, but it also indicates more yet to come as well. So I think that, and this actually to me indicates more of the positive sides of this full moon. So I think that's what I'm feeling here from 16 degrees Taurus is like, because we're starting to feel more in alignment with ourselves and who we're becoming, we're seeing all these opportunities and possibilities about our life, and that there's more out there. You know, there's more out there that we can accomplish and we can achieve here than what we previously thought in all these different ideas here, which I think is a good thing, even though once the unexpected occurs, it may be hard for us to figure out all the details and which combination to choose here as we move forward. Okay, then we get to Taurus 17, the spilling out of blood and guts, arriving at the critical point where it all comes out. Huge relief and release, something held forever with great tension and pressure, yet destiny brings such a reckoning of all the places at once that you will postpone it as long as you can. The freeing up of karmas when all else is lost. So there's that word of karma of like, there's a lot of karma going on here at this time, which just means the results of your past choices and actions. That's all that means. Okay. And what does this say to me? You know, this says to me that there is some kind of, right, a reckoning, the spilling of blood, some kind of choice that does need to be made here, some kind of choice here about about all the combinations, about what you want to do next in your situation and how to handle the detail and what's going on. And that it may feel a lot of tension and pressure, but that making, I think, this decision is going to free a lot of things up here to help you move on. Look, it also says the glory and the defeat. So some of you are going to take a loss and it's going to be better. You're going to feel better because you did that. Okay. Everyone freed up, nothing held back. Okay. So that's what I have to say there about those degrees. I think that's all that's coming to me. Yeah. A lot of possibilities, maybe to repeat that before, a lot of possibilities, or to summarize for me, a lot of possibilities here that are starting to open up to us about ourselves and who we're becoming and what we can do next. That's going on in our lives. I think that is important and exciting here for us, but it may be hard to decide which of these to take because there's so many different options and combinations, and because there's some kind of detail, right? And some things from the past that are coming up to be resolved and released that cannot be held back any longer here, that I think we're going to have to make, right, some kind of decision so that we're not held back by this stuff any longer and can move into these possibilities and opportunities. Okay, and I think that's all I'll say there. And your card for this time period is the Seven of Cups upright here, which is interesting because it's, to me, a card of indecision, actually, and of confusion. And we've got the Three of Pentacles reversed at the bottom of the deck. So I definitely am getting a vibe of indecision, confusion, and then the Three of Pentacles reversed, to me, does indicate either conflict here or like not working together with people, or with your resources, maybe with money, maybe with money at this time here as well, because there can be some big upsets, losses, weird things with money. It does feel more losses of money than gains, but can be either here going on at this time. And because it is, I should know, a pentacle, right? That's going on with this card. So I'm definitely getting a sense here with that. What else do I want to say here? you know, I have to say again, the cups to me are about intuition. So I think the message is like, don't wait until you're absolutely clear to make a decision here on how to resolve this stuff. You do need to be in a calm place, but don't wait until you're absolutely clear logically about what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. I think there is a need to go more with your gut, go more with your intuition, and go more on a spiritual inkling. Not only is that part of the advice, but I think the other part of the advice from the cards, sometimes I'll see the Three of Pentacles as like standing apart from the crowd in some kind of way, or from the usual stuff, and doing things differently. But I also see it as a card of like leadership and initiative too, in some kind of way. So I think that maybe the other thought here is to not be afraid to take the initiative with this unexpected detail, whether you're initiating the conversation or someone initiated the conversation with you and you're beholden to the detail. Don't be afraid once a detail has occurred that is unexpected, that needs to be dealt with, to take on the initiative or the leadership role in order to address it, no matter which side that it is that you're on here. And leadership to me means standing above the fray and offering direction and a vision that can unite people, here. So I think that's what I'm sensing. A decision needs to be made. You're not going to be clear 100% logically on what to do. Trust your gut, trust your intuition, trust the divine here. And then don't be afraid to assert that or be a leader in your situation. Whether you started the unexpected thing or it happened to you, don't be afraid to be the leader that works to direct and guide the course of negotiations or of conversations here, and to offer solutions or to provide some sort of vision here about how to work together. And I think that is excuse me, part of the advice, because I think that, right, whenever there's a conflict, usually leadership is lacking. You know, whenever there's some kind of conflict, when there's two people, usually some kind of leadership is lacking, because when there's a leader, there's vision, there's direction. It's no longer you versus me. It's a higher goal. It's a higher ideal that we can all work to. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's coming up here. That's going on. I think another reason why that is coming up as advice too is because I need to note, sometimes when you are the leader or when you go first to like, let's talk about this, you know, you set the tone. You have a little bit more of the upper hand, you know, because you were the one who went first in order to maneuver some of this stuff and to offer ideas. So I think that's also a strategy too, to help you call some of your power back and get a little bit more of the upper hand here in this situation. Another thought as well is that typically the Three of Pentacles, when it's upright as well, is older people listening to someone younger who's teaching or explaining or something like that that's going on. So another thought that I have too is that to you know, not base this on like the traditional ways of respect. You know, anyone can be a leader. Anyone can take the first step here to resolve a conflict and provide an alternate vision that can unite people forward here. Anyone can do it, no matter the age, no matter your position, you know, at work, in a relationship, things like that. So I think that's another thing too. Don't be discouraged here, and don't, you know, count yourself out from fixing anything and negotiating it in a better way because you feel you're young, or you don't have the upper hand, or this other person started it and now you're just beholden. You know, like, anyone can find the inner vision and find the inner the path here, which is probably a very smart decision here to take the leadership to do that first. And it might as well be you here in order to bring this together, because I think that the people who have, I think, the best kind of vision or inspiration might be received better and get better end results from all of this stuff here as well. Okay. What else? I'm interested that I said teach and explain. Now, I don't feel like too much explanation. Like, I don't feel like some of you need to like explain your situation. Oh, well, I did this to this person. I did this to you because I was doing this. I was no, like save the explanations here. Like what's done is done. Water under the bridge. So I also want to say that here. When it comes to these decisions you need to make to resolve this conflict, trust your gut, trust your intuition, trust the divine here, and don't be afraid to be the first one to kind of stand up, to offer a solution, especially in a way that can unite people and share a vision, no matter what age you are, what position or role you have in this connection here or in this situation that is going on here. And don't focus on explaining yourself, because that's just going to bring you backwards. You can offer context, hey, this is where I'm coming from, but don't get stuck in that. Don't get stuck in that, because that's going to prolong it. Focus on unique, innovative solutions and just moving forward and tying this stuff up here in some kind of way so that you can move on here, because these things need to go. Well, we got death upright at the bottom of the deck and the Scorpio card, because these things need to go, and we need to find ways to do it that are going to allow that to happen, okay, and in the most helpful way possible. Okay, anything else? Sorry, I feel like this Three of Coins is a very interesting card. I also want to note too, because the coins, again, it's about money and resources, especially because they're all like holding, you can't really see it too much, but they're all like holding coins weirdly and like next to each other in their business, and these people in this card. And so another thing that I want to say too is that, and before some of you make these firm decisions, you may need to make arrangements. You may need to rearrange your finances here, and your money, and where it is, and how much you have, and where it goes to what. Some of you may need to rearrange your finances here in order to better protect yourself from these unexpected things that are occurring, and set yourself up better here as you move forward. I also want to note too that when it comes to rearranging your finances, I'm getting the sense of like removing your finances from a situation if it hasn't been already, or keeping your money to yourself, because they all look like they're kind of hoarding it. Here, I mean something like that, right? Or like paying a situation off so that you don't have to deal with it. So I just want to note that a lot of adjustments going on with money and your resources as well. Make adjustments there. And they need to be adjustments to remove your money or pay someone so you don't have to deal with them, so they're gone forever, whatever. And to get that more in a place that you feel is going to work with you. As for forming new partnerships at this time, business and otherwise, I don't recommend that. So if you want to form a new business partnership with someone, especially if this is with money and relationships here, that's not pertaining to the past and something from the past you need to get rid of, I would wait to do that. And I would wait to do that till after the new moon in Sagittarius, which is not too long from now. It's 2 weeks from now, so keep that in mind. This energy feels remarkably dealing with things from the past and letting old things go and doing what needs to be done in order to tie that up. Anything new that you want to bring in, which could also be related, I should note, to the end of 2020 or 2021, but could not. Anything new you want to bring in, and anything new that is going to work, I would hold off just 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. Maybe we'll give it the full moon in Gemini, 2 to 4 weeks here in order to more fully make sure we're good about that, and that these other things from the past aren't encumbering your vision, of what you want to do here and what's important. Okay. And that's it. I think that's all I'm going to say here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, share it with your friends, comment down below here, and I'll talk to you on the next one. I hope that you have a good full moon, the best that you can under these circumstances.